Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 22. This we're reviewing the 22nd season of Case Closed. I planned to do this yesterday, but I wasn't finished the season in time. So, today I finished the last two episodes of the season. This season was 35 episodes long, though it felt as though it went by really quickly. Like I was getting a lot of the episodes done really quickly. Now, this season is the first season since season 18 to do this, where they actually skip over certain chapters. Actually, first time since season 17, where they skip over certain chapters and adapt it for the following season. That is basically the trend of Case Closed for the first 8 seasons of the show, and the past seasons didn't do that at all. Though for some reason this season did that for some strange reason. I don't know why. It just did. This season covers chapters 804 to 827 and 831 to 840. The episodes this season basically from the series that cover part of the season are episodes number 681 to 715. And this season is full of many multi-parters. Yes, and if you wonder how many episodes of the season are in fact filler, 13. Out of 35. That's not bad. Not at all. Especially since there's not many filler. Like, if you look at these filler episodes, basically, like, wow, really? That's it? Yeah, there's only about three strings of filler episodes. The first one comes from 686 and 689, and it's 692 to 698, and then finally it's 707, 709. And that's it. Yep. Now, the season starts off with a three-parter. Yes, a three-parter, which basically has Takagi getting kidnapped and be held on top of this building while having a noose around his neck and tie it up. And he spends the whole three-parter, and also he's in a cold area. Yeah, and it's called The Life-Threatening Broadcast of Love. And it's an opening three-parter. And this three-parter just covers just 5 chapters in the manga. Yeah, it covers 804 to 808. Also introduces a flashback character, a character who's currently dead. He actually died a year prior to events of the series, named Wataru Date. Despite the fact he has the same last name as Takagi, they're not related. It's never delved into if these two are related. They are referred to by Date as that's the guy's name. The series says his name is Date, as the Wataru brothers because of the same last name. And the guy died in a car accident. He got run over by a car. And his girlfriend thought that he had left her, so she committed suicide. And here's kind of the strange thing about this. Her teacher misinterpreted the whole thing with Date, and of course, he thought that Takagi was a boyfriend, and he left her for the beautiful Saito. And it's like, and here like, you're dating a senior detective who's a beautiful woman. And he meets us like, wow, so you're Saito. I'm surprised he doesn't say, you are a very hot woman. Or it's like, you're a smoking hot woman, or you're beautiful. Yeah, he doesn't say that at all. Also, when they find him, this is of course after he gives the Junior Detective League a tablet that basically has got like 2 hours of battery left. And the superintendent, who's Inspector McGuire's boss, suggests to turn it off and keep it on for about 10 minutes once every hour. And they basically desperately search for him, and of course the guy who took him captive. And the guy who took him captive later commits suicide. Poisoned wine. Yep. Apparently they thought, okay, I got my revenge for having my student commit suicide. Yeah, and it was a complete misunderstanding. Though it has an awesome ending where Saito eventually finds him with McGuire, she jumps off the plane. She jumps off the helicopter. She goes to the helicopter to go find him. Jumps off, lands in the building, and it lands, and of course knocks out basically, she sort of tosses away the bomb, and takes off the gag, takes off the noose. Well, first she shoots the rope near his neck. And then she gets right on top of him and starts making out with him. Kisses him twice. And he's like, everybody's gonna see us. And she's like, I don't care. I want to kiss you because I haven't seen because I thought you were gonna die. And of course the officers who were all got an obsession crush on her, are all like Takagi, which I thought was so funny. It was by far a hilarious ending to this awesome three-part at the start of the season. Hmm. And then after that, then we have a two-parter called Froth, Steam, and Smoke. Yep. Where this basically involves a murder that Conan and Anita are involved with. And yes, this is a canon episode. This basically just development for Sharu, the guy who Akagi is impersonating. Yeah, it's him. And in case you're wondering, he still has a disguise as if it was re-experienced in manga. He still appears. And yeah, I don't really remember this one too much. Yeah, it's a pretty good little two-parter. Yeah, then we have a car carrying a time bomb. Yeah, this one's about a bomb and kept in a delivery truck involving a puppy. Yeah, and the puppy belonged to a little girl who sees Amy as sort of like a big sister. And they find the puppy. The two guys get arrested. Of course, these two guys are actually thieves. They're not the bombers. They actually caught the bomber earlier. And yeah, it's a really good standalone filler. And then we have the unbelievable ski trip, ice trip. Yeah, this one is another standalone episode where it involves a mayor who, get this, actually, him and his assistant actually conspired to murder the previous mayor by cutting his brakes. Yep. Because they really want to control this town and they wanted the town's money. And he also did not care for the ice festival that was put on. It was suspected the person in charge of it was basically, of course, the guy who gets murdered in his igloo, like his ice hotel. Oh yeah, everybody sleeps like these furry pads on top of sleep bags. Yeah, and of course Mitch is the one basically goes to the bathroom and sees like a little flame thing. Yeah, it turns out something else. Oh yeah, and who was the one who kills the mayor when he later found dead? Is it the assistant? Nope. Suspected, but nope. Is it the most obvious person who really wants revenge on him for killing her father? Nope, not her at all. But actually the person who's basically the foreman of this whole ice area. Yeah. He's the one who killed him because he found out about the fact that he had, for one thing, embezzled funds from the town budget, and he also conspired he basically murdered the previous mayor of the town. So yeah, and of course the assistant was basically later investigated for embezzlement. I think he may have been also arrested also for conspiracy to commit murder. But it's an interesting little standalone episode. Let's see if I can work. Come on. I hate this happens. Come on. Yeah, those of you wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to get back to my info basically about this season, but my Google Chrome is not worth to start this over again. Come on. Thank you. Yeah, finally it came back up after several times clicking on it. Okay. Then we have Detective Takagi finds 30 million yen. Yeah, this all involves him finding money, and he basically finds the owner, and the guy who basically left it there wanted to give it to a friend of his who was marrying the widow of one of his friends who he actually killed. And yeah, it's interesting little standalone. Of course, as for Richard Moore, he is involved in this. He doesn't do jack frickin' squat. He's actually interested in this thing because a lot of the time he's not interested in doing work at all. Nope. And then we have the client's message. Yeah, I don't really remember exactly what this one was. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it. Then we have the code case for Conan's father. And this is where Sarah returns. First 15 episodes she returns. And this is actually the first, when she appears in this two-parter, first of a few appearances she makes in the season. She does return a little bit later. She's absent for a few episodes, for at least for several episodes. Yeah, she doesn't come back until like episode like 699. Yeah, she's absent for a good like 8 episodes after this little two-parter. They try to figure out what would cause this person's death. Turns out this person was not murdered, just by just accidental death, and the blood marking, which is also found in the other guy. Turns out that was basically also by accident where the guy left his money there, and that's what the second guy. The first one was just simply a kid who was the son of a priest and uses candy to sort of leave stuff behind, and of course Conan's father basically just abandoned the cage, just gave up on it because, well, it wasn't murder, it was basically an accidental death. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting little two-parter. Though it does feature return, it basically has Sarah meets Sarubi for the first time, though this is actually her brother. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm spoiling that, but yeah, this is her brother. Yep. And then we have the Evening Cherry Blossom viewing route on the server. This is a two-part filler. Yes, a two-part filler that basically has Richard Moore delivering money to this kidnapper, and it turns out that it was somebody they suspected. Like, they would figure out pretty easily, and apparently Conan decided to follow him, despite the fact the police were already following Richard Moore anyways. My personal guess is because he don't want anything happen, despite the fact he doesn't like this man very much. He does not want this man to get killed, because of the fact he's the father of the woman she loves. Yeah. Though Conan basically has the force to see the woman he loves is basically a big sister. Yeah. It's a great little two-parter, and all about cherry blossoms. Yep, that's basically what causes the guy to be arrested. And after that we have Missing Sweets, Ill Sweet. This was actually quite funny. Yeah. Where these chocolate sweet disappeared. You have to figure out where it is. Like, they go off like 7 people. Like, Conan goes off with... Like, Conan actually is in the shop, and I think it was... Oh, yeah. Amy goes off with Rachel. Yeah, I think it was Conan go off with... I'm trying to remember who he went off with. I think it was with... they had Mitch go off with Richard Moore. He had Serena go off with George. And, of course, Conan go with Anita. Yeah. And at one point, Richard Moore is like, oh, I just basically just sit here and get drunk. And, of course, Mitch calls, and, of course, Rachel overhears this. So she gets angry, walks over to where his location is, basically, one of these 5 candy stores, and she proceeds to beat the living crap out of him for getting drunk. Her own father beating him up. Oh, this was kind of funny. It was actually one of the few times Conan did not have to use the trinketers needed to knock him out. And saw the fact that despite the fact that the chocolate was missing, it was never made. Because of the fact this was released on the anniversary of the CEO's death, who actually didn't like the green tea bird thing, was actually... But this was a really good little two-parter. Yeah, I don't really remember what happened in these next couple episodes, because it's been a little while since I've watched them. Yeah, but it's, the whole thing... Oh yeah, bricks. Okay, I think I might remember this one. Yeah. The next couple episodes, 695, 696, Rose in the Vineyard and the Flower Bed Vandal Scheme. I don't really remember exactly what exactly happened in these episodes because it's been a while since I've watched these episodes. The Widow of the Girls' School. Yeah, this one basically involved the woman who commits suicide, and it turns the woman did not actually commit suicide. She was murdered by the guy who actually donated the mild cars that are basically in this place. Yeah, he was the one who actually killed her. Because he found something she shouldn't have. Yep. The unbelievable case of the crashed UFO. Yeah, a guy in a fancy suit gets crushed by a UFO. And here's the thing, it's not murder. It was actually done by accident. While these guys try to find a way to get out of depth, so they say they rob this crazy scientist guy's lab, and they come across his UFO. And how it got there, it was via crane, a magnet crane, and eventually was crushed on twice, basically. First in the actual lab, and how this was done was by one of the ropes basically the hooks rusted, snapped the rope, and caused the thing to collapse. Yeah, of course the guy was arrested for trespassing anyways, but it's an okay two-parter. It's an okay standalone episode, but nothing right from home right home about. And then we have, believe it or not, the next, like, 7 episodes actually feature Missouri Sarah. And the first 2 is about the Shadow and Anita. Where they say they go camping. Yeah, and they stumble upon some murder. Yeah, the boys, most of the Junior Detective League, minus Conan, that's of course because needed at this point, they actually stumble across a person burying a dead body, and Conan basically has to search for Missouri's hair, figure out who killed the guy and wherever he was. And this episode, this 2 parts noteworthy for the first time. Hybra, well, aka Anita, uses her antidote to transfer back her to normal self. And when Conan sees it, he really wants it. Because he doesn't like being a child. He doesn't like being a child very much. And of course, she basically likes so much so she called him a pervert. And of course, everybody was scowling at him, which I thought was so funny. And that happened at the beginning of the episode. And of course, as for Missouri Sarah, she just somehow she just found out that he was going camping, and from one perspective, just by sheer coincidence, she must have followed him there. And this, of course, this tease is basically setting up for the next arc, which is the whole thing with the jet black train. Yes, the jet black mystery train. By far, really good. Yep. And this particular 4-parter, believe it or not, is the first time that the Black Organization has done. Like, this is the first major arc involving them since that 14-part back in season 17. Yeah, the Clash of Red and Black. This is the first time since that particular 14-parter they've done anything at this point. Though it's mostly just Vermouth and Amuro, which they reveal in this 4-parter is actually Bourbon. Yep. Oh yeah, and the Kaito Kid shows up in this 4-parter in the epilogue. It's revealed that he was disguised as a maid. And the episode looks like it's their take. They reference Agatha Christie a couple times in the episode. From my perspective, this is their take. This is the show's take on the Murder Orient Express. I mean, we already had a take on the Hound of Baskervilles, the Sherlock Holmes story. Why not Agatha Christie, which apparently Anita is a big fan of. And this person was killed, and of course they had this fake little quiz, this deduction game. Yeah, and here's something by sheer coincidence. Like, after they solve the murder of who actually killed this guy, they basically forget about this guy. He's never seen again. It's possible he may get arrested because they don't realize what happened to him. And they reveal that, oh crap, there's a bomb on this freaking train. And here's the thing. There is an explosion in this train. The only thing that gets blown up is the luggage car. That's the only thing that's blown up in this thing. And you have the Kaito Kid taking on the Black Organization for the first time. And it's the only time I can think of he ever taken them on. They took on basically just took on Bourbon. That was it. And of course, he talks to Conan like, who the heck were these people? Conan never tells them. But I'm sure he says, okay, he says, officially you're out of my debt. And of course, the Kaito Kid's like, okay, you're in my, and of course he hangs it, okay, you're in my debt now. Yeah, it's quite funny. Oh yeah, and how he basically, like, he found just because the fact that you have this woman who looks like she's 37, and she looks like a woman who practically a teenager. Yeah, that's how they kind of figured it out by the whole running thing. Yeah, and of course, Missouri come across Scar Aki. This is the part I gotta talk about. Scar Aki is revealed in this 4-parter to be Vermouth. Yes, she disguises him all along. Even Bourbon 2 times disguises him. And how they reveal this is quite ingenious. That apparently Jimmy's mother just happens to find her, takes to her room, takes him. Oh, hi Sharon. And I'm thinking the whole time watching is like, really? You like, of course, she know both these two know that Conan is Jimmy. It's like you're part of the organization. Like, I'm surprised she didn't say you're part of the organization that turned my son into a child. Though the Verma had nothing to do with it at all. That was all Jin. Jin and Vodka actually in the 4-parter. They do nothing. They show up. They hear about what's going on. You have Serena's uncle basically over exaggerating. No, it's her father's cousin. No, his uncle. Because he suspects Kyle Kim on the train. Of course, he does not know it's a black organization on the train. Yeah, he does not know that at all. I mean, he's another character. Of course, he does show up a little later when the Kyle Kid shows up again in the next season. When next time when Kyle Kid shows up, which is probably going to be next season anyways. And yeah, this also, from my perspective, this is the first time in Zimmer's series account anybody related to black organization. Though she only encountered Vermouth, disguised as her dead brother, though he's not actually really dead. And as far as I know, this is the only encounter she's ever had with the black organization. Because in the manga, she hasn't encountered them since then at all. The several times they have shown up, she's basically not been there, or she's not even encountered them. It would be interesting, though, if she actually does encounter them again. I'm sure she probably will love to get into a fight with either Vermouth, or probably even Jin. Yeah, that would be interesting. Jin versus Sarah. That would be interesting. But who knows? Yeah, it's a fantastic 4-parter. And it's also the last time you see her the whole season. She does come back later next season, though she only appears for 4 episodes. Yeah, her next appearance, if I get the thing up here. Here we go. If I get it properly. Come on. Thank you. Okay, her next appearance in the series, if I can get the thing to work properly. I hate when it does this. Well, that's coming up. Let's talk about the remaining episodes of the season. Yeah. Then we have 2 loosely connected episodes where we have Conan in a locked room where there's like a bird. And this is all about first they're at a tennis place and Conan gets hit with a tennis racket in the head, getting concussion. And he somehow wakes up and takes a nap in this guy's bedroom because it has AC. And, okay, here we go. If I get it. Come on. I can do it. Thank you. I think. The next season, surprisingly, Sarah only appears for 4 episodes. Yeah, she only appears for 4 episodes, and that's it. Yeah, that's the weird thing. I mean, it's a short season. She only appears for 4 episodes. She doesn't return again until episode 724, so she's for 19 episodes before she finally comes back. And I think it's by far her longest absence between episodes. Yeah. Yeah, and it's also kind of just now. Bourbon also figures out though, well, in this 2 loosely connected episodes, that Conan is basically the person behind the sleeping Richard Moore thing. And yeah, this is the last time that Bourbon has this whole season. Nothing has followed up with him after that. Yeah, that's the last time we did anything with him. Next we have a two standalone. At least the next 3 episodes are all 3 standalone filler episodes. First is the famed Great Detective, where this murder happened and the guy who he suspects basically, who was the ex-bank robber, who was the one who got him killed. And like when I heard this guy's voice, I'm like, man, this guy's voice sounds familiar. And I looked up something to find it, and it's Frankie from One Piece, the guy who voiced him in the sub. That's how I recognize him right away. It was the first time I actually see in this show where I recognize a sub actor. This doesn't happen very often because a lot of sub actors generally are different. I don't usually count them more than one series. But yeah, this is the second time I've seen it where I have a character voice, a character sub, and in their series. The only time I've seen this happen is sub actor for Knuckle and that character for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Diamonds Unbreakable. Yeah, the one character looks like Knuckle. Yep. And yeah, it turns out he really did responsible for this guy's death by caused him to run up against a rusted staircase that had one of his handle corroded. Yeah, he did the day before, and that's how he killed him. Yep, and the guy was arrested. Though he basically, of course, he couldn't take, he's a sore loser, couldn't take the lying down, so he attempts to stab him, though Rachel stops him. Then, of course, he throws Rachel onto Richard Moore, which he wakes from his sleeping Richard Moore mode, and he's like, why you? And basically, he judo flips him right there, and of course, they slap him the cuffs on him anyways. It is by far, like, I think anybody who's a parent basically could see that, yeah, what Richard Moore did to him was completely justified. Basically beating him up for trying to hurt his daughter. I'm not a parent, but I actually do agree. I actually do stand with Richard Moore on doing that to that bank robber. Mm-hmm. And then we have The Man Fell Slowly. This one involved a character who was from McGuire's past, not from his. It was a guy he arrested 8 years prior, and he actually was suspected of killing another guy. Well, attempted murder, but nope. Turns out he didn't kill him. Turns out the guy's fault was actually by complete accident, and it turns out the guy actually was trying to kill him, though he was arrested for sort of false imprisonment and assault on an officer. Though I think he might be let go because of, well, he wasn't mentally competent when he did it, but he might face some counseling. Mm-hmm. Yep, and then we have a two-parter everybody saw involving a death on an elevator. Well, first you have Harley Katsuru and the detective who's a friend of Harley's who comes to Tokyo to investigate a suicide. He didn't feel as though it was right. So they figure out, yep, the guy did commit suicide. And then later on, the guy who forced him to commit suicide apparently does commit suicide, but turns out, nope, he was murdered. How he was murdered was quite interesting. Apparently, they decided to have it where he sort of simulated his death via 4 tablets. They put on the window of this elevator, and the person who killed him was actually a manga writer who happens to be the writer of a series that Kappa likes. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I like the fact they love Kappa, even though he's not really here in this episode. He wasn't last week's. He wasn't last episode, but not this two-parter. And yeah, it was a quite interesting little two-parter, and they sold it pretty quickly too. But I'm sure probably that the series she probably works on probably got canceled due to her being arrested for murder. That, or she continues to walk behind bars anyways. Mm-hmm. And then there's this funny scene at the end where, like, because, well, the inspector's staying over, and, like, and of course we have Harley staying over too. It's like, okay, he's been cramped room. It's like, okay. And of course Rachel's like, how about Cody to sleep with us? And of course Harley gets sort of jealous because, well, he loves Krista, and gets angry at him. It's like you almost like call her a pervert because he's trying to sleep between 2 girls like it was a sandwich. But Cody's basically blushing at this because, ooh, he gets to sleep next to the woman he loves. Well, this is it's by itself hilarious. And then we have something quite bizarre. The inspector gets a call from Harley's father, and I should point out that this is actually his last physical appearance in the series. He does appear in a flashback in the next episode. But yeah, this is his last appearance in the series, Harley's father. He does appear in a flashback. He doesn't really appear ever again in the series. Don't know why they dropped him from the series for what they did. They just have him stop appearing. Don't know why. Of course, this leads into a 4-part which ends season 22. Yep, a 4-parter involving a vampire. Yep, and just by sheer coincidence, 4-part aired in the month of October. Why not? Yep. And then we have, like, with this 4-parter, they figure out there was actually there's 3 people get killed. The owner of the house, his younger brother, and his sister. And it turns out it was actually the sister's lover who killed all 3 of them. And here's the weird thing. He's 29 and his lover is 60. Yeah, I think it's a little bizarre. And it was also revealed that apparently he previously was in a relationship with the second daughter of the household, the second sister. And she's 26. So why would he move up from being with a 26-year-old to a 60-year-old? And apparently these 2 sisters were rivals for his affection. Okay, I'm sure people think, oh yeah, I'm a lucky son. I'm gonna have two women fight over me. Yeah, but him killing his honey. Though they did know what he was talking about, but it was kind of odd. He kept referring to his lover as his honey. And this is a guy who's dating a woman who is 30 years older than he is. Yeah, this makes no sense. He probably slept with her for money. I'm sure of it. Yeah, and it turns out that they have a maid in this period of this episode. Though, for some reason, she doesn't appear after this particular four-parter. And, though this is her debut, it's later revealed at the end of four-part she's actually the daughter of the owner of the house. How he died, and of course he got his head chopped after he died. And apparently she was the daughter of, well, his fiance, and it turns out he was the father, so she gets all the money. Yep. And they also have this thing where Rachel and Katja basically stays up like almost to 5 o'clock in the morning making these special things, and then they all of a sudden fall asleep in the car on the way back, and of course Conan sits on Rachel's lap. Why not? And Katja is sitting next to Harley, and then of course he says some stuff like women can be scary, and then she just leans her head over, lays on his shoulder, and of course Rachel nearly falls right on Conan, and they're both like, how much of this stuff they eat? Of course they stuff this stuff with garlic. And of course they talk about how bad their breath smells. Not if they stink, because they stay up to like 5 o'clock in the morning. These two women didn't even shower. Yeah, and that's how they end the season, this bizarre note. Yeah. Though next season, believe it or not, season 23, like, a little over half the season is filler. Yeah, I have 24 episodes next season, 13 are filler, and like, I think it's like 11 canon episodes the entire season. So basically, it's more canon, it's more filler than canon. And it's like this for the series. 23 is like this, I believe 25 is like this, and 27 is like this as well, where there's more filler episodes than canon. And I'll probably talk about this in a few days. Okay? So yeah, that's it for this particular review. It's a pretty good season, 22. And though it's 35 episodes, this next season is only 24. Yeah, but I did feel as though the season went by really quickly. I may have skipped over a couple episodes because I don't remember because it's been a few days since I watched it. Yeah, so I have roughly 3 videos coming forward today. 2 comic corners and a manga review, okay? But to you next view. Bye.